watching, waiting for an unseen enemy that has no face. Nerve-ending, screaming in silence. Never knowing which thought might be your last.
Oh, shut up.
I believe the subtext here is rapidly becoming a text.
I swear, one of these times you're gonna wake up in a coma.
Wake up in a... Oh, never mind.
You know, I was thinking about doing a Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of build, and then I realized, no, the true badass of that series is Rupert Giles. So, you might be thinking, well, it's pretty simple. Giles is a lore bard. And, yeah, you'd be right. Yeah. But, it wouldn't make for as good a YouTube video, so unless your DM hates fun and doesn't allow for multi-classing, let's get into it. I should say that beforehand, we are going to be using feats, and this is a heavy multi-classing build. It's going to require 3 classes. There's going to be Bard 10, Monk 4, and Cleric 6. So as long as your DM does like multi-classing and feats, then this will work out pretty well. If they don't, then this isn't going to work out that very well for you. Alright, so to start, let's go over into race here, and Giles, well, it's going to be a hard pick for us, isn't it? But he's a variant human. Yeah. Who would have guessed? So, with that, we're going to go ahead and choose a language. Now, because he's a watcher, I don't believe you should necessarily drag lore identically from the Slayer verse, I'm not sure what to call it, and bring it into a dungeon game. Like, I think you should make this character your own. This is just a play style of how to be something akin to Rupert Giles. So for language, we're going to go with, where is it? Infernal. Because I believe Infernal is the language that devils speak in this. And it felt very appropriate. Like, if we are going to stick to something similar to this, and the DM has agreed, like, there's this organization, maybe the Cobalt Soul or something like that. Who knows? But work it out with your DM. See what's up. Now that we have the language out of the way, we're going to go ahead and choose our ability score increase. We're going to go ahead and pick Charisma, and we're going to pick Wisdom. This will come in later down the line. I'll get into that then, but we're going to gloss over it for now. Alright, and now we're going to choose a skill. So our skill is Stealth. This is primarily because of how we're going to be playing this character. This character is not a frontline person at all. You need to be tucked away, hidden, not being shot by arrows. You'll see why very quickly. He is very frail and weak. So for our first feat here, this is pretty important as to why we're being a variant human. We're actually not going to pick anything combat related. We're going to go down to skilled and pick that. With skilled, we are going to go ahead and pick Arcana, Religion, once I find it, and History. Alright, so for our background, Giles within the show, if you really want to get nitpicky, at one point he became a bit of a delinquent. He became a bit more of a criminal. He claimed that he helped founded Pink Floyd even though he would have been 10 years old at the time. I can't remember, I'm going off the top of my head here. But I feel like the best, if you want to really optimize the character that knows all and can figure shit out, you go with the Sage here. It's primarily just for the researcher background. So for our 2 skills, we're going to actually pick Medicine, and we're also going to be picking Nature. Now, as for our ability scores, this is going to be very dependent on, again, your Dungeon Master and what they find appropriate. Personally, I like to talk to my Dungeon Master and see if I can't just come up with stats that I felt like were appropriate for this character. So for this character, I believe, yes, here it is. I went 9 into Strength, 16 into Dexterity, 9 into Constitution. For Intelligence, we went up to 18. For Wisdom, I picked 16, and for Charisma, I picked 17. This is primarily to fit the roleplay of this character for me, but it also helps us get to the multi-classing requirements. If you are going to be doing point buy or standard array, or if you're going to be rolling, best of luck, the minimum requirements requirements for you to actually play out this character is going to be a dexterity of 13, a wisdom of 13, which is going to be covering both monk and cleric for us, and then a charisma of 13, which is going to be covering bard. So, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and move on to class. And let's get into what is probably the best path for you to follow with taking this character and mantling Giles. So first and foremost, you're going to want to go into Bard. This is going to be the main focus of this class because you're a lore master, a lore keeper. You give that information, you write it down. But for the first 5 levels, you're going to go ahead and select Bard. For our proficiencies here, we're going to go ahead and pick the dulcimer, if I'm saying that right. We're going to pick the lute, and we're also going to pick the lyre. The instruments don't really matter. You're not here to be a typical bard. You're not here to be singing. You're not here to be persuasive. You're not here to deceive. You're not here to perform. You're here to give information and to help others that are around you. For our other skills, we are going to go ahead and choose Insight and Survival and Investigation. To 3rd level, we're going to get our Bardic College. We're going to go College of Lore because it makes sense. And with that, we're going to get 3 bonus proficiencies, which is already insane with what we have. Proficiencies, we're going to choose Sleight of Hand. We're also going to choose Perception. And then we're going to choose Persuasion. Where is it? There we go. Level as well, we're choosing Expertise. I chose Arcana, and I chose History. This is again exemplifying that we know monsters and we know history. We know how people dealt with shit in the past. And yeah, going with that. Now, for the feat that I chose, I decided to go ahead and pick Linguist, if I can. Here we go. I felt like this was fitting for the character. I wanted to be useful like right away with being able to read and decipher texts. Also, we're not playing a warlock in this case, so we don't get Eyes of the Runekeeper. We can't just read everything. There are spells in which you can comprehend languages, but I didn't want to be so reliant and beholden to wasting spell slots for that, unless absolutely necessary. Alright, with that, we're going to close off the Bard for now, and we're going to go ahead and add Monk onto this list. The reason why Monk, I felt like the Watchers within at least the Slayerverse they're able to handle themselves somewhat. They're able to help train the Slayer in this case. So for the most part with Monk, the first 2 levels you get quite a few things. Not so much like with your unarmored defense. I really like this idea because now you can just be in a suit and you can look good and you can still have a pretty decent AC. The AC on this character should be 17 or 18, I believe. Could be calculating that wrong, but whatever. And with that, we also get some martial arts. This allows us, again, to use dexterity instead of strength for attack rolls. The other benefit, too, is that we get some unarmored movement, so we'll be able to run away a lot quicker, or just reposition and keep up with people, and it's a very useful thing to have. For our monastic tradition, I went with Way of the Open Hand. Again, I don't have much unlocked yet, but I felt like Way of the Open Hand with its techniques, with being able to knock things prone. This is where the true benefit of it comes in, where you can knock things prone. They can't take reactions until the end of your next turn. Things such as that, where you'll be able to get away pretty much unscathed. I just noticed that I bumped it up to Monk 5 accidentally in the first place. It's Monk 4. That's all we're going to. If I said that earlier, need to clarify that now. And as for our last choice here with the Monk class, we're going to go into our ability score, and we are going to choose a feat, who guessed, and we're going to go ahead over into Observant. With Observant, I believe we are going to pick Wisdom. Alright, and for the last class that we're going to add, we're going to go ahead and add the Cleric here. And we're going to bring the Cleric all the way up to, if it loads, we're going to bring the Cleric all the way up to level 6, and that's where we're going to leave it. So by this point, we're level 15, and we would have everything that we'd want. So for the Divine Domain, we're going to actually choose the War Domain. I felt like this one fit the character a bit more with being able to provide assistance. So at first level, you gain the War Priest ability, which is pretty nice. It's not bad to have. You also are able to use heavy armor, but you're not going to be using heavy armor unless you really find something amazing. It's a nice little thing to have. For our channel Divinity, the Guided Strike, that's really good. It's going to be great for yourself, but that's not the main thing that we're looking at. The main thing that we want is War God's Blessing. So with War God's Blessing, we can use one of our channel Divinity to grant someone +10 to their roll. So on top of inspiring somebody with a D8 right now, I believe, if that D8 wasn't enough, you can also add a +10. So it can, if you're having a hard time hitting things, which I have had in the past because of just bad rolls, this can really turn the tide of battle, and it can really help out. So for our final feat here, within the Cleric, we're going to go ahead and choose Keen Mind. I felt like it was appropriate for this class. This play style, that he would remember everything. If you're somebody that doesn't like to take notes, this is a very good one to have. May annoy the DM, but as long as you don't abuse it too much. It's not really the best feat. If you want another supplement instead of Keen Mind, so that the Keen Mind also, the main thing is that it gives us our intelligence score, the roleplay fits. But the other thing that you could choose instead of Keen Mind, if you don't like it, you can go into Resilient with intelligence. This gives you an intelligence saving throw on top of increasing your intelligence score by 1. With Cleric out of the way, we're going to go ahead over to Bard, and we're going to go ahead and add the last 5 levels, getting us to level 20 into our College of Lore. For the AMS, this is obviously dependent. However, the one spell I would recommend that everyone takes is Counterspell. I very much like Counterspell. And then the other spell that fits this character a bit better that I felt was Misty Step. Misty Step can get you in and out of places without provoking opportunity attacks. And look at the ASI. The final ASI that I felt for it would be a feat, and I went ahead and chose Warcaster, just because we have a really poor constitution. So our constitution saves are at a -1 already throughout all of this, so it's kind of a hindrance on us. But this would give us the ability to make it at advantage. The other choice is you can bump it in, put the feat into Resilient Constitution. This way you get that extra con. You're going to pull yourself out of the negatives, perhaps. And yeah, but I felt like the Warcaster was better just because a hostile creature moves out of your opportunity of attack range. You can cast a spell now instead. Just, it felt better. So that's the last ASI that we get ever, and then we're going to go into Expertise. So with the Expertise, I went ahead and picked Investigation, and I picked Religion. Where are you? Last Magical Secrets. This is the last AMS here is very just up to you and what you feel is either missing in your party or whatever. Personally, I went with Scrying and Private Sanctum. I believe that I'm missing a couple of spells because I don't own the books yet. Good choice here would be probably Bigby's Hand. It's a pretty useful ability, so I'm probably going to go with Scrying and Bigby's Hand. Just do an overview of this character that we've created. As we can see, our strength is still in the negatives, and our constitution is too. That's a personal choice. Of course, if you get really good rolls, you can just have an amazing character, or I always feel that your character should have a flaw, not necessarily through a modifier, but in some means that isn't going to be a detriment to the other player's fun. But let's go ahead and look. So our dexterity is at a +3. We haven't had any modifiers since level. Con's still -1. Our intelligence is at 20, which is beautiful. Our wisdom has gone up, and so has our charisma. And as you can see, with unarmored defense, we're at 17 AC. That's not too bad, because there's magical items that we can get that can enhance that while being unarmored. The bracers of defense, I believe, increase your AC by 2. And robes of the Magi. There's plenty of options for getting your AC up in this game. And if you have magical items that you'd like, you should speak to your DM about, like, asking about, like, hey, this is something that my character would like to add in, and would like to look for. If you can maybe just be kind and throw me a bone here, it'd be amazing. And as we can see here, let's look at our skills. As you can tell, this is a build that can be very dangerous. Not in the sense of within game. Actually, it would be within game. You can quickly overpower or like people's position within the game. So keep that in mind, is that with all of these, with all this power comes great responsibility. Really though, because you could be taking away from the mage, the wizard, or the warlock, or someone else who's been training in Arcana. You can their backstory. Like, give other people room to shine and fill, like, support, and like this is play fair, play nice. Like, have fucking fun together, but don't be so dominating that other people don't get their moments to shine. Because again, this character is very, very, very good at a lot of things. Just like I've never had it that full before. So, and this character is, again, you're supporting people, you're giving Bardic Inspirations, you're casting War God's Blessing, you're healing, you're guiding the party outside within role-playing environments, and trying to gather information so that the party doesn't just go in mindlessly and trying to just kill the beast without knowing its weaknesses or its vulnerabilities. Like, that's your job, that's your role, to find those vulnerabilities and how to deal with these creatures. And I really like that idea. Don't ever forget that you have your turn undead, you have your counter charm. There's so many things that this character can fill out that a lot of classes, or that a lot of people just make something like a barbarian with a paladin, and they wanna hit hard, and that's fine. But maybe like there's other aspects that are missing within your group, and then you can fill out those other aspects. So maybe you don't have a druid necessarily, so all of a sudden you have a nature and a survival, and you can fill out that, like, yeah, I really focused on the natural world, and I really focused on all these other things. Also, the other big thing too is that if you notice here, it automatically rolled my health for me. Hopefully you roll a bit better, but it could be a good reason to have your constitution above, because one power word death and you're fucking gone. Like, that's fucked up. Even at like higher level mobs with like their multi attack, they hit fucking hard. And so yeah, this character, you very play it safe. Don't always just think that the back line is safe too, because it's never fucking safe. The DM will challenge you in ways, or at least they should be challenging you. Another point, as you can see, our persuasion's the only one. So like naturally a bard, you'd think, oh, performance immediately? Nope. For intimidation? Nope. For deception? Nope. I just felt like this character wasn't focused on that. I felt like this character was focused more on providing information and keeping information. And with that, I think I'm going to close it off. There's not much more I wanted to say here. Besides, make your own backstory. Make your character involved within the land and the lore that your DM created, assuming that that's something that your DM is interested in. It will really make your DM feel good that you're taking a big interest in that, and assuming they don't mind you asking for this, you'll figure it out. You'll have fun with this, I hope. So thank you for watching, and take it easy.